So referring back to the question, the central knowledge question of how can we know when a tradition should be upheld, there are a number of other examples that come to mind, such as cockfighting and arranged marriage. But before addressing how it applies to other situations in the world and how it properly applies to our real world situation, we need to address the areas of knowledge and the ways of knowing. For the areas of knowledge, there are a few that you could choose. One of them would be the human sciences, because outside of the biological makeup of humans, this area of knowledge pertains to the philosophical, physiological, social, cultural aspects of humans. Traditions remain important over many generations because they delve into the depths of being human. They show us our core beliefs, and that's very important to us. And because it connects us to one another and those that came before us, that's how the human sciences apply to the question. Now, one of the reasons traditions are upheld is because of history. It's so hard to move away from things that our ancestors have done. So even if we don't believe it anymore, something that's been practiced for so long can't just be stopped. So it's become a part of our identity over history. And then you could also bring up art, and just how certain parts of certain traditions, like the music, decorations, paintings of a certain culture's tradition, are very important. And like a holiday. Holidays are good examples, like Christmas, which is around, it's coming around the corner, and every year we play Christmas music, we put lights up, we decorate our homes, and we connect with one another, and so that's the artistic part. For the ways of knowing, there are again several you could use. One of the big ones is emotion. Tradition relies very heavily on emotion because it connects us to one another. This with a shared love or sense of happiness based on whatever it is we are celebrating or doing, whatever activity it is, whatever tradition it is. Memory is also vital because obviously in order to maintain the tradition, and to keep it the same, otherwise it wouldn't be a tradition. With the real life situation, the bullfighting ban, it's like every year either there are no bullfights, or every year there are bullfights and they are all the same every time. And so that would be why memory is important. You have to keep everything the same. And then lastly, you could say faith, which is probably the most important. It's the backbone of tradition, because without beliefs, without knowing what we believe in, we can't guide ourselves as people to adopt traditions and cultures and activities, and we can't properly use these things in our lives. You have to believe in something. It doesn't necessarily have to be religious, but you have to have faith in something in order to continuously practice it year after year. And then Justin, you'll say your conclusion, and then I'll say this also applies to arranged marriage, which is another example of traditions being upheld. It's one of history's oldest traditions. I'll talk about how it's ethically immoral due to the fact that it's many times children or a product of incest. And although a lot of societies have abandoned this tradition, many haven't. A lot of people who are Hindu, Muslim, or Jewish still resort to arranging marriages for their children. And it's because, one, we've used it for so long, it's so hard to move away from the past. And two, because not only is it hard to move away from the past, but it's just a core belief. It's a part of who we are as humans, and it's hard to move away from that as well. And because of those things, one, that it's been practiced for so long, and two, that it's so important to us, it's a core belief, we know that it has to be upheld to so many people, and that's why we can't just suddenly move away from things like arranged marriage.